Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Tuesday. It is August 15th. This will be our chart lesson for the day. And started out with a nice downtrend. In the end, we just had a range day. You had to be concerned about a range day when when we bounced down here. We ended up going a little lower, so this was obviously a valid channel. We did get a break here. We tried to make a new low and couldn't, and we just ended up going sideways into the close here pretty much. So um, we spent most of the day in this price range. By the end of the day, you probably could have moved this up to somewhere along here. And we just spent most of the day in that price range. Really, from just after the open, we dropped down into that price range, and we stayed in it between 24.6650 probably looks like to uh, 24.60 or so. 60, yeah, that's probably the low, 24.60 right there. So, um, yeah, mostly a range day today. But this was a nice trend early on, and if you started selling like I do, you could be done here quickly before 9:30. And so that's my point, I guess, is what I'm trying to make is you don't have to sit here all day long to make a living at this. And you probably need as much screen time and as much practice trading as you can get early on. But at some point, you you may get like me. You get to where you feel like you're burning out sitting here all day long every day. And actually, before we go into the trades, that was something else I wanted to bring up. I had the video. Uh, I think it was one day last week where I talked about, thinking about retiring. And just to clarify, at this point, I'm not really looking to retire. I'm just more or less, I'm looking to cut back some. Um, I'm a workaholic. I'm a perfectionist. And so I'm always working on something new, or I just work too much. And the whole reason I went into trading, some of you that's been around have probably heard me say this before. I'll say it again. The main reason I went into wanting to be a day trader was to get out of the corporate rat race, to get out of the working rat race, being gone all the time, missing my kids grow up. I couldn't ever go to any of my son's ball games. I couldn't see my daughter cheer. And I get to do all that now. I saw my son's senior last 2 years of high school. I saw every ball game he played. Didn't miss any of them. I get to go see my daughter cheer now every Friday night, and I don't have to miss that like I used to have to miss back in the old days because I'd be on the road working, working somewhere, and I am a workaholic. I admit that, and I know that, and so the whole idea behind me getting into trading was to simplify my life, to be home more, to not be working more, and and if you know my personality, if I quickly that it wasn't long till I was the same way about my trading that it was my other job. I always I want to be the best. I always want to do well, and I don't go home unless I feel like I've done what I need to do for the day, which is always way more than I probably need to do. I don't know. Some of you probably can relate to that. Some of you maybe not. I got a brother that's the polar opposite. He could care less if the sun comes up tomorrow. But that's the way we're made, and there's nothing I can do about it. And there's probably nothing he can do about the way he's made. So, but we are polar opposites, and so some of you are probably lean more to his side, and some of you may lean more to my side. And if you're a workaholic, you know what I'm talking about. You just you feel obligated to do what you need to do every day. And I mean, if there's one extra email that I think I need to read, that somebody wants something from me, I feel like I have to answer it, and that's tough for me. So I'm trying to get away from that. As if you probably noticed, I try to answer the emails when I can now instead of forcing myself to answer every one of them every single day. Sometimes I'm running a day behind because I just can't get to all of them and so forth. So anyway, I wanted to explain that. I'm not looking to retire necessarily yet. I'm just more or less looking to cut back. It probably won't be a whole lot longer until I retire, but I'm not ready to retire yet. So no worries on that end. But I'm just looking to cut back at this point. But at some point when I do get ready to retire, I'll give you a fair warning and a heads up. I won't just quit one day and disappear. we'll work through it, and you'll know ahead of time. So if you're still around, no worries. So anyway, um, notice we got two measured legs down here. We had that final push down, and then we went sideways. We really never got a break. We did get a break here, but we really never got a new low, is what I should say. We just went sideways after that. Somebody contacted me. I believe this is where he went long. What you got to look at here is here's your overnight low, here's your overnight high, and where are you trading right here? Right slap dab in the middle. You're really kind of going sideways here. So, but if you draw that trend line off those first two swings, this comes back. Early on, I had it right here. Later, I moved it up to here. Um, and you can see when it came back down here the third time, it bounced there again. It actually was working its way down here when it bounced here last time, the first time. So actually, I had it in here really before we get down to here. And then it just confirms it down here. So I wasn't sure where it was. And if you go back and look at our morning video, I explained I'm not sure if this, I'm not 100% positive if this is where the line is or if it's going to be down here, because we just didn't really have enough price action yet. But I was right. It turns out it's here. And when we came down the last time, it bounces there again, off that same line, and then we get the break. So sometimes you don't have enough price action to know. And at this point here, early this morning, we're just kind of going sideways here, and we're right slap dab in the middle of the overnight high and the overnight low. And that's where you got to be real careful. You better make sure you're reading it properly. So notice that you got a little trend line working up through here too, and then you get a little close and you made a new high. It was tempting to go short here, but this is really your signal bar. That's such a big bar. You could have gone short there if you want to be a little more aggressive, but wait on the lower high that also confirms the trend line here. And I believe the trader that sent me his stuff, he went long right there, and it started backing up and it shook him out. And he sent me an email and said, did I let him shake me out too soon? Because I believe this would have been a 4-tick failure. I believe this is where he was entering. I couldn't quite tell on this chart, but I think this is where it was at. If not, he'll probably comment. He'll know what I'm talking about. You sent me an email about you let them shake you out, and did you get out too early? And my response was no, that you just read it wrong, because we were really headed lower. And of course, you got this little trend working here, and you get a break and a new low. And then you start working up, and you got your first two swings there, you get a break, a new high, and then you get a lower high, and you're headed lower. So once we started going lower, I'm looking for that measured move like this right here. And you can see that is a perfect measured move. And then we bounced a little bit before going lower again. And you get a little trap right here. So the only trade I saw early on was the short right here. And then this is your reversal pattern. Notice the new high, first entry, pull back, second entry, and it's right off that trend line. Nice bearish bar. It's a little close to this low, but at this point you figure we're shooting for a measured move and probably going to at least maybe try to test the overnight low. So I like that trade. You're probably going to have some longs trapped there trying to pick a bottom. They see it looks like a double bottom, and it's just a trap. And it actually makes a little breakout pullback short again. But by that time, you've already bounced real quickly once. And so you could probably argue for that one to be green. I don't like it just simply because it should have, you really expected it. If it's going to go on, it would have went on right there. But it's like a second chance, but that's not a good enough entry that I like a second chance. It's not off the trend line. You've got what looks like could be, it's not a convincing close outside, but then you're pushing outside it again. So it may just go 1 or 2 ticks and then come back to the trend line, or may reverse. It may turn out that's the low at that point. So I'm not crazy about that one, but I'll mark it green. And then of course we shoot down, and it bounces right off the lows where you would expect it, but it comes back and look, it turns down right off the trend line again. Of course, draw this trend line, and then it pushes down, pulls up, and it breaks higher, and it turns down off that trend line again. And now you got enough, and look how bearish that bar is. You could wait on this bar and drop your limit order in, or drop your stop right there, or let it break below this bar and drop your a limit order back where your stop would have been. You could have done it either way, but it went out the top first and turned down. But I like just as soon as it broke lower, having your stop already there. And it took a little minute to work on down. But it just continues to work lower, and so you not only get a nice scalp out of this, but you get a nice runner out of this. And even if you wanted to exit right there at the lows, you still would have had a decent runner, but you could have got another point and a half out of it anyway. Once it broke above, once you got kind of a bullish bar, maybe either there or there, I'd probably exit and take what it's giving me. So by this point, 9:30, you've already had a couple of good trades where you could have been done for the day, as I talked about earlier. It's tempting to go long here, and there is a trap here, and you could probably argue for that to be green. And I really like it to go long because you figure you're probably coming back to the trend line at a very minimum. But notice we never tested where we went lower here yet either. So notice it does come back and test that. So we could be headed there. But you got to respect this trend channel here because it's still in play because we don't have a break of this yet. So we finally get a break. And right here, we're still looking for shorts. And so you can't be trying to go long in here unless you get some really good setup. And notice you get a break here, move to a new high. You don't have a very good signal bar, so wait on a lower high or a double top with a good signal bar. You finally get that here, so I like going short there. And then it comes back and it gives a double test of this level right here, and it gives you another second entry. I'm not crazy about this. This is really your signal bar, and it's not very bearish, but it's a double test, and notice it's second entry, and we did try to go higher, and you break a little bit higher above those matching highs, and so there's reasons to argue for that trade. I marked it green, but I'm not crazy about it. We did bounce down here again, but we don't quite have a new low in place, and there's not much room back to the mid. This is a midline is why I drew this between the highs and the lows. And we come back, we test it once, and we're just kind of, by this time, we're just kind of going sideways. I like this long here just because we came off the low of the range, and then you get a failed second entry short. And you get a lower high right here with a bullish bar back above the EMA. So it's your reversal type pattern, or your bounce off the low. It's not really a reversal, but it's a bounce off the low with the failed second entry short. And you expect it to go back to here, and it could go higher, but you're just looking for it to go back to here, and it looks like it's going to turn down there. And this is a good example why you like to wait on a lower high, because this looks like a great setup. There is a clue here to stay out when you get another one beside it that couldn't break lower. That's a pretty good sign that, hey, you better not go short, because now you got the 2-bar matching low, and it bounces off the line. And it's tempting to go long here, but again, it's right into that resistance, and it could break higher and give you a lower high and turn down again. So you don't want to go long, especially that close to 2 o'clock. And of course, that got you in the 2 o'clock hour. So, but not a bad trading day. There weren't a whole lot of trades. It was pretty active on this downtrend early, and it's always easier to trade the downtrends and for most people than it is the sideways stuff. I generally like the sideways stuff because it's so predictable. Notice that if you'd have bought any turns off the low, they would have all worked. And if you'd sold any of these turns off the high, one of them would have failed, and you would have lost a few ticks there. But other than that, if you just did it blindly, you'd have had 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4 trades. There's even a couple here off the midline. If you just bought those, they would have worked as well. And there's another 2 of them. although the midline will fail more often than the lows and the highs. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, I'm going to wrap it up. Hopefully you had a good trading day today. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. Believe it or not, tomorrow is already Wednesday. Man, the time is just flying by. But hope you had a great trading day. I'll see you tomorrow. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.